Hello, hello, good morning. Welcome in, welcome in. The SPY is doing pretty well here. Once again, holding up well in pre-market so far. Slightly green on the day to open up. How is everybody doing this Tuesday? I hope we're all doing great. Pretty good initial open here. Nice green candle to start, but we'll see. We're only 1 minute in. What's up, Maddie G, Tangy Man, Zach, Van, VT, Chill, Xavier, Brain, Almighty J, Rick. I know, no bell again. I was actually on Thinkorswim staring at the setting for the bell as it started today, and it should be on. So I've got to play around with that, and I even restarted it because I wanted to really make sure that it would come up. So we'll be playing around with that a little bit more. It better work tomorrow. If it doesn't, I owe everybody a Big Mac. No, I'm kidding. Tesla jumping 424. 1.2% again, breaking out here at market open above the recent highs. I like that. Right through that like 421 range. It rejected there a couple times recently, even pre-market today, but at open here, getting through it in a great way for Tessie. Mag 7 right away. Tesla's the standout, of course. Google actually turned over pretty hard here. Down 1.5% on the morning. The rest are fairly good, right around break even. Some were doing great, and then at open, Apple, Meta, Amazon, Microsoft all had bad downwards moves. Nvidia held its ground. We're going to see some pretty big data coming out tomorrow that can impact things a lot more in my mind. I've got to sue Thinkorswim. Oh, no. Don't say that. I don't think I could beat him. New high this week. That's what we're going to have as a poll today, actually. The good guy. SPY's doing pretty well again this morning. Are we going to get that new all-time high? Might as well do it now, since we mentioned it. All right, here we go. We have new highs, rejection, or flat/steady. Will the SPY make new highs this week? Yes, new highs, no, rejection, or flat/steady. See how we go here. While you're doing that, destroy the like button. Helps us out quite a bit here on YouTube, of course. APLD, J-Duck said. Applied Digital, again, popping off. Running right up to that high from yesterday, rejecting down, though. Got to break through there. That'll be a big zone to break here this morning, but that will be fun. I'm actually going to put an alert just above there. I still can't believe the funny alert sound that they have on TradingView. It's so funny. I didn't add it in either. They did it themselves. We'll have to see if it hits, if APLD gets a little jump here. New high, then a collapse seemed to be the theme this year. Yeah, it really is. And we talked about this on the channel a lot. Every time the SPY has made a new high recently, it's rejected back down pretty quick. We normally get like 1 or 2 days of breakout going on, and then right back. Ooh, there we go. APLD is moving already. Look at that daily chart. APLD is extremely strong. But on the 1 minute, popped right through that resistance up to 40. Dang, looking very, very strong here initially again. Up 4% already. The average percent rise for this stock is 5.6%. That is a huge number. What's up, Alexander? Joe Papa. Welcome in. Ooh, SPY starting to collapse back down a little bit, guys. Nasty red candle on the 1 minute now. We were doing pretty good for the first 5 minutes. Now the 6 minute, not the best. Man, really failed to break through resistance again. SPY is like a lot of resistance around 695.50 to 696. That entire zone is just crazy from the middle of the day yesterday until now. Still reacting there. Still failing to break through it as well. There could still be a shot here later in the day. See how this drop solidifies or not. SPY's right around break even on the day, though. Might go negative. Don't do it, SPY. We're right at 694 support as well. I don't mind if it does, but I know Greta's getting a little pissed here. Oh, man. Oh, wow. Right through.
How dare you?
Oh, Greta was ready. Maybe it'll bounce now, Greta. Maybe you just had to get mad at it. That's all. Greta likes to make an appearance every now and again. I don't know. She called me on a satellite phone this time. New high, then a collapse seems to be the theme. Maddie says, I think Advanced Money Destroyer broke your resistance. Advanced Money Destroyer. Yeah, it did a little bit there. Damn, that's a lot of chop today. Look at the chop right around there. This is a tough zone for AMD. It's not really liking this area too much. We're going to have to probably adapt to like 220 today. Man, that SPY movement's pretty big too with the way it's pulling back. Even Nvidia is pulling down 190. Nicholas, I like that question there. What's your opinion on SoFi? SOFI. That stock has been pretty fun over the past couple years. If we look at that daily chart, it's been pretty nice. Now, it is pulling back a lot in the short term, starting to rip back. For the short term, I'm still looking at a possible recovery to come into play. I'm looking for this stock to still continue the overall uptrend and continue breaking out for the most part. If it came down and broke its recent low, that would be a huge blow for where it's at right now on the chart and the possible recovery coming in. But it could easily do that given the volatility that this stock has had. AMD doesn't know if it wants to destroy or dispense. Watching stocks is like watching the play-by-play at a basketball game. We can add cheerleaders with pom-poms, not the male cheerleaders in skirts. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I wonder what that would look like. Instead of like, give me an A, they'll be like, give me a 10%. Bank of America. Nice green candle there so far today, 56.80. The banks have been pretty strong, but yesterday they pulled back a little bit. So watching them today a little bit to see if they can continue this rally. JP Morgan looks great from open again. Damn, that was a pretty good move there from JP Morgan. It's trying to even hold this intraday support zone right around 324.26. It's a good bounce back. 326 at the high of the day. Could be some opportunities here as the day progresses. It's up right around its average percent rise, but you know, if it's a good day, it could go above average, of course. And you can see lately it's had some pretty good action. Yesterday, the move was very similar to the opening move today. It didn't really break out by a ton, so I don't know, maybe you'll want to scalp and take some profits pretty quick. QQQ turning over. Broke through the pre-market low here just now, 613.40, excuse me. Breaking to the downside. 5-minute candle starting to move down in a pretty massive way. It looks like tech is pulling back a little bit, at least in the broader side. SPY is pulling back as well still. Wow, new low of the day for SPY also. Nvidia pulled back hard. Meta, Google is getting crushed, guys, down 2.6%. Look at Google's price action here from open. My gosh. That is a massive drop-off again. Getting down towards those earnings levels. Let's throw it on an hourly. Maybe that'll look better. I don't know. Oh, it doesn't look great, but whenever I zoom out, I like seeing those long-term supports over there. It's just insane how some of these wicks have been lately with these earnings moves. Google. Pulling back like crazy now. Really adding some pressure. Amazon's doing pretty bad as well. Amazon, we look at their price action lately, it's also been bad. Now, they pulled back up recently, but it almost looks like a dead cat bounce style setup. I would actually continue to watch this one to the downside as well, as it's turning over. Stiff resistance here. Really failed to break through that zone. And, you know, if you watch these downtrends happen a lot, you'll see like a period of consolidation sometimes following those massive drops. But then a few days later, you'll see the continuation happen. Of course, everything's different and every single situation is dependent, but I really like the opportunity here with Amazon down. Of course, if it breaks through resistance here, this from today, you cut it pretty quick. But I think even swinging it, it could be fairly decent. Into tomorrow, Tesla was the one bright star from open, but even that one is giving up some of its gains now. Not as much, though, and as we know, Tesla can perform better than other stocks can. Of course, it's kind of in a world of its own. Let's look at the watch list. Spotify, yeah, they had a great earnings move I saw early on this morning. Nice pop up towards 490. They're up 14%. I think they said there was strong user growth. Let me see if I can pull that up really quickly here. I'm sure it's one of the headlines still. Ooh, Kalshi says Super Bowl trading volume surpassed $1 billion. Wow, I didn't see that headline yet today. That's pretty cool. Yeah, here we go. Spotify pops 14% on user growth and earnings beat. I like that. Their monthly active users grew 11% from a year ago to 751 million and surpassed a FactSet estimate of 744.7 million. So pretty good beat overall there. It doesn't mean that these stocks have to go up just because they beat on estimates or anything, but especially with user growth like that, that's pretty nice. Oh, they report in euros. I forgot that. They earned 4.43 euros versus 2.74 expected. Damn, that was a big beat. The revenue just barely beat, but wow, that's pretty good. Pretty good EPS at least. The ad-supported user number beat expectations too. 476 million. Wow. It's a lot of accounts. Hey, if you guys use Spotify, throw the words, or just throw Spotify in the chat. Or just say, I use it or something. I'm curious to see how many people out there use it. I personally use Apple Music whenever I use that stuff. But Spotify is probably better if I was going to be honest. Almost everybody I know uses Spotify. Everybody. Oh yeah, there we go. There's 3 of them. Just P says since 2012. And while you're at it, vote in the poll on the SPY too. Will we hit new highs this week? Looks like it's an overwhelming vote for yes so far. Wow, VST, Tangy. It's been a while since I've looked at VST. It's bouncing off like right around the 140 support now. It's getting pretty close. It's a pretty big zone. Right back up to 160. Oh, it's a tough buy for me, Tangy. It turned over really hard. Napster. I like that one. Let's see. VST. The one thing I'm looking at, Tangy, is it has this clear uptrend here. It doesn't line up, I don't know, it might line up pretty good. I don't know. If you lined it up something like this, I mean, it's been uptrending pretty well on the broader side of things here. I mean, people need power, right? Their headquarters is in Irving, Texas. People will sacrifice food for electricity, Tangy said. Man, it'd be tough to have no electricity, I'll be honest. I couldn't imagine something like that now, after everything. Whenever the power goes out for storms, I leave. I go to where the power is. Was CIFR a big money trade? Cypher mining? I don't think so. No, I don't have it on here. If it was, I might have missed one, but I doubt it. Yeah, the data centers, of course. That's where my mind immediately went. Thinking about power and the need for all that. Wow, Tesla really bounced off that support very well. It's continuing today. Now, it's holding its intraday support too. It's testing it actually right now, breaking down, touching it. So get ready. This is a big zone for Tesla here. Starting to look pretty negative though as it pulls back. We'll see if it can bounce or not. I'm sure there's a lot of people looking for a bounce play here. Closer to 420 to 421. Demure. Couple people like YouTube music. Nice. Coconut said 60% of that is AI. Uh-oh. Is it really? I'm sure that there is quite a bit of generated music on there. Speaking of Spotify, I had one of the weirdest things ever happen to me like a couple months ago. I went to the gas station and there was like this wild looking guy, and he was like wild, and he was like telling everybody that was in the gas station like to get on their phones and to go follow him on Spotify, and he was like a rapper and all this, and it was so weird. The guy looked like he was on something though. It wasn't normal. I was like, man, I don't use Spotify. I normally would be into that and be like, oh yeah, let's follow him, but man, that was crazy. Bank of America moving up. JP Morgan, 326. JP Morgan approaching the top end of this morning range. Might get through 326 here with the way some of these banks have moved lately. Good opportunity on banks in the shorter term. How's Walmart talking about opportunities? Some of these growth or value stocks, I should say, not growth stocks, value stocks like Walmart have been on fire. Target, little retailers here. I don't know what you call them, big box stores, retailers. What do they call it on the heat map again? Consumer. Oh, retail, okay. I could have sworn they classified it as something different, but maybe they do on the different classification, but either way, retail, I'll call it. How's Costco doing? COST sitting right at $1,000 a share. Talk about a resistance. Tangyman said the silver miners have done brilliantly since he's picked a bunch up. Throw out a couple of those tickers again, Tangy. Pandora, Jack said. I remember using Pandora in like 2008 or 2010 or something. We all thought it was the coolest thing. AG, pass, and CDE. AG. Oh, PAAS. Mistyped it there. CDE. Yeah, these are doing pretty good. From the low on the daily candle to the high, CDE's up 21%. Damn, better than I thought. Actually, I guess given that it's a $19 stock. Yeah, silver and gold have been holding their bottom range pretty well. Today, they haven't really done much, but still ones to keep on the radar here intraday. Always have to watch them right now. The most recent time they did, Tangi? I know they've done it like 3 to 4 times recently. Google's bouncing off the $15 support. 315 support, I mean. Oh, yeah. It is holding 315 pretty well. This zone has held up, too. Right here. It's a good hold for Google. It needs to hold there. It's down a lot today. Yeah, Google's starting to turn over in a pretty decent fashion. Right now, it kind of just is mimicking this pullback. Or it's not mimicking it, but it has like a similar amount of downside move as of right now. The move is fairly similar. If we see this one accelerate a bit more here, it's going to be pretty nasty over the next few days for Google. It doesn't mean SPY has to fall, though. We could see other stocks hold the SPY up. Obviously, we're seeing that today with SPY breaking through the pre-market high, except for that very first weird wick. But for the most part, breaking through the pre-market high at like 695.50. Getting close to the high from yesterday, breaking through that as well now. 696 coming up. SPY on fire here. Whoa. Now that is a good move. Something is fueling this SPY action. TSM's pretty decent. Nvidia bounced off support. So we are seeing tech come up all at the same time pretty much. Avgo. Meta had a little bounce. But I don't know what's really fueling that. How's Disney? They're up 2%. I know Disney got crushed recently. Still recovering up though. Not too bad. How's Nike? I remember everybody was watching Nike because Tim Cook bought in. Man, Nike has gotten destroyed, guys. Destroyed from those 2021 highs. It's very enticing to pick this one up, but these clothing brands can be very tough. Very tough. They can have great price action, though, whenever they do start to run, but they can be tough cookies. J-Duck said SPY is carrying others. Nike went woke like Gillette. Gillette? I didn't even know about all that. The Olympic medals are made of 90% silver. Pretty good investment if you're a mega athlete. That's funny. I wonder if they're worth... I wonder how much like an Olympic silver medal would be worth. Like if anyone like ever sells those. Like let's say the athletes need the money or something. I don't know. It'd be hard to sell. Obviously, like, I wouldn't sell mine, but I wonder if somebody would. See you later. Bye, Demir. Have a good morning. Breakfast time. Don't forget to vote up in the poll, though, about will SPY make new all-time highs this week while you're here. SPY's not far off. We're looking at the daily chart right now. It could easily hit highs this week if we get another candle like yesterday or like Friday. Obviously like Friday, but even like one from yesterday, we'd be right up at the high or past it. So you can see a nice move. We will be right there. Interesting day so far, though. Lots of chop. But it's good to see the SPY pushing. Ran into some resistance here at the high of day from yesterday and the resistance from this morning. Looks like it's now chopping around a little bit, but it did break there just ever so slightly before pulling back. Xavier, Hood earnings coming up on the dip. HOOD, been dipping down a ton recently. Earnings tonight and after hours. Where are my earnings? Hang on, I closed my earnings tab by mistake. Reopen it real quick. There we go. Yeah, earnings for tonight. Robinhood, Lyft, ALAB, Ford, Upstart, Gilead. Gilead. I haven't heard of them in a long time. AIG. McDonald's reports tomorrow in pre-market. That'll be interesting. Lots of fun ones this week. Coinbase is going to be one of my favorites on Thursday and after hours with how much that they've been dipping down recently. That is a massive, massive pullback for coin. I know there's a lot of people that want to buy up this dip with Coinbase and a lot of these companies that have been dying off related to Bitcoin recently. And if Coinbase reports good earnings, it could spark some optimism there. You know, MSTR recently had earnings. They haven't done too bad since then. I think they initially had a bad reaction, though. Yeah, they initially kind of fell down, were weak, but the very next morning they popped back. But that was good to see, I guess. Looks like software stocks may be doing better. Let's see, Adobe. Oh, Oracle is one of the big ones. Short term, oh yeah, popping back 3%. Microsoft, of course. INTU was a big one that died recently as well. CRM, Salesforce. Healthcare, not bad again. Moderna. Look at Moderna bouncing off $40 on the daily. Not a bad bounce at all here. Disney's moving pretty well intraday. Wow. Really good price action so far. Up through 110 even. Strong. Big jobs data tomorrow. If the jobs data could spark some buying in the market, we'll be at those new highs. If you think the jobs data could push us towards those highs, you know, you could vote up in the poll that you're looking for that high to hit. We're actually only about 2 points away right now. 2 points away from the all-time high. $2 on the SPY. For those of you that don't say points. If you ever hear people say points and you're like, what are they talking about? It just simply means like $1. A point. I've had some people ask me about that before, so I figured I'd clarify. A lot of people that got stopped out and didn't have time to look at the markets are going to be sad, J-Duck said. Yeah, market's doing great. You could have got stopped out there in that initial drop for sure. There's probably a lot of people that tried to buy in at support. Let's go, SPY. Awesome PA. I was looking at a lot of news from like overnight into this morning, earlier today, and I didn't see too much. I saw Alphabet seeking $11 billion from pound Swiss franc bond sales. Saw them do that issue of their 100-year bond yesterday. I mean, didn't see anything too bad. Paramount had some news. The retail sales this morning did miss estimates a little bit. You know, sluggish retail sales data did hit this morning. Let's go to the economic calendar. They refresh so it shows the actual there. Yeah, it was little gain, like nothing almost. 0% gain, essentially. After a 0.6% gain in November. Consumer spending is finally caught up with consumer sentiment, and not in a good way, said Chris Zaccarelli, Chief Investment Officer for Northlight Asset Management. Of course, the jobs data tomorrow is going to be much larger, I think, than retail sales data today. Let's see how the SPY reacted, like, literally as that came out, because... Okay. I mean, right here is the SPY move today whenever this happened. So, it didn't seem to, like, really hit the market that much. But that's at least what the headlines were saying this morning. Stocks stall as investors digest sluggish retail sales data. Of course, you have to read between the headlines and see what the market's really doing yourself, because the headline can sometimes be a bit misleading, as I'm sure you guys know. The SPY all-time high is at 690, 696 or something, an overnight, J-Duck said. The all-time high is at 698.34. It is right here. 698.34. It happened at 5 a.m. on Wednesday, January 26th. Or sorry, Wednesday, January 28th. I was reading the year. Man, SPY's been strong today. Wow, Netflix is moving well. 3.6% for Netflix today. Daily chart starting to look pretty strong again. I know a lot of people have been looking at Netflix on this dip for a possible buy. It's getting to that point where it's getting enticing. Xavier said Figma's going up too. Yeah, a lot of those software stocks are. I like it. Figma starting to move back off of the $20 support. The stock had IPO'd recently and died. It's getting to that point where it's getting interesting here again. Percentage of ownership in a startup? Gotcha, Tangi. Interesting. I know points can also refer to, let's say, you're playing basketball and there's points. I don't know. Now I'm getting silly, but that's interesting. I did not know that, though, Tangi. Tesla. Little comeback here. 1 minute candles looking good. Might try to hold the range. Still bounced off 420 earlier. Held it pretty well. Advanced Money Destroyer moving down in the red today, actually. Nvidia down as well. Bouncing around 188.50. These chip stocks are not performing very well, but the SPY has not cared too much until, well, the last couple candles. We did just see the SPY pull back pretty hard there. I'm actually eyeing up the news. It was such a large 1 minute candle today. Wow, what chop is that? Amazon bounced amazingly. Yeah, it's been moving very well. That was a good intraday bounce. Look at that daily chart of Amazon. It's been moving pretty well the past couple days, ever since that initial drop off from earnings. Trying to come back. Now, it pulled back very hard at open today. And we have to really watch this resistance overhead because it's failing to break through. Now, if we do see the overall market continue to rip higher, I think that can help Amazon. But it looks like SPY is even having trouble at resistance too. But Amazon's like right there. If we could just get one more little pump, it'll be breaking back out, which is great. Great, because this is a hard range here for Amazon. And it wasn't looking too hot at open today. I'll tell you that. There was still a lot of support in play too, but pretty rough action down. It's liking to stick around this range right now, though. As far as scalping opportunities go, you could probably eye up the bottom end of this recent range around 208.50. And if it breaks under there, kind of like it did right here, you could probably enter really quickly for like a very quick put opportunity to the downside if that hits later today. You'd set it up something like this probably. Maybe even tighten it up. You can make the risk reward maybe better or worse, but you want to have a little volatility there. I noticed that this wick was very volatile there. That was like an opening candle kind of, but still. Palantir starting to pull back here. 146. Big resistance there. Tesla held 420, but it's coming back down for another retest of that zone. It's held it a lot here, though, so I wouldn't be surprised if it tried to bounce. SPY had a really weird sell-off, though. Not seeing almost any news coming through. Pretty much none. Scanning some Bloomberg headlines here. Wow, SPY recovered back, though. Quick recovery. Quick 1 minute push. Seeing some volatile 1 minute candles here hitting on SPY, though. I feel like there's going to be a lot of people looking at that jobs data tomorrow. That is going to be a huge event. If there's any day to wake up early, tomorrow is the day. Maybe Friday, too, because there's CPI inflation data as well. I laughed when Amazon fell off a cliff because it just shows how irrational traders can get. When Amazon fell off a cliff, let's see. 212.25. That was a massive pullback off the cliff. I know that's not what you mean, though. You're talking about this pullback. Yeah, very irrational. Gosh. We see some irrational moves all the time. That's why I guess I don't get surprised by them too much anymore. I'm pretty immune, I guess, at this point. Tesla's holding that range. Could be a decent dip buy coming through. Palantir holding support. It's a good zone to hold. 143.50. Yeah, pretty good. What's up, Jay Bass? Good morning, good morning. A lot of up and down action today, Jay Bass. Spies, though, continuing to try to push higher. Every time it's dipped today, it's fell again. How's UPS? Somebody said UPS is on fire in the chat. Oh, yeah, 118.42. That's what we like to see. UPS really is on fire. It's really destroying it. Interesting. Looks strong intraday too. Still getting it done. What do you think about ETH8 today? Down or up? Ethereum Trust ETF? Down or up if I had to pick? Oh, God. Ethereum looks kind of bad today. I'm going to say down overall. Down overall. It seems like it's trying to hold support right now, but I'm leaning more down. The good news is it's bouncing right off 2,000. Oh, such a big zone. I'll tell you what. It's such a big area of support. If you're looking at Ethereum here, I mean, I would set up my risk-reward ratio like this. However you could do this on like an Ethereum-related stock, I would try to set it up somewhat like this if you were going to trade it up. If you were going to trade it down, I would wait for it to break through resistance or through support, I'm saying, and then maybe have a target more like this. Oh, man, that risk reward's bad. Not even one. It's hard there. Hard with Ethereum. I didn't want to get too close to this wick and support, but you'd have to pretty much throw it all the way down to it to make it hit one. You could move the stop to like right here, but I don't love that. Nine green days in a row. Yeah, Aoli. Nine in a row. That's pretty awesome. I guess I didn't realize that. Wow. That's pretty crazy. I think that this day on the February 5th, I think that that day was actually technically a red day, but it, yeah, that day was technically red, but it was green on the candle. Sorry, I see what you're saying. I didn't mean to get too technical with it, but I was, I remember seeing that the other day. The dreading landing and engulfing bull candle, Tangy Man says. SPY rejecting again at 696.50. Oh God, so much chop around this top end of the range today. Failing to break through, but I feel like it has enough strength to get through as the day goes forward. We've had so much good strength on the SPY lately. If we look at the daily chart, we can actually see how there's been some great uptrends that happen here where SPY will move up for like 3 to 4 good green days in a row. There might be some very small points of consolidation mixed in, but for the most part, some of these uptrends since they started have been great off of these dips, and this is no exception here again. All right. Don't forget to vote up in that poll, guys. That poll going, 55 votes. Pretty big one so far. The more the merrier, though. About an hour into open, SPY's up 0.3%. Tesla's still holding that 420 zone, popping back up. It's been loving this zone as support today. Multiple bounces within it. Good recovery so far. Looking at the Mag 7 setup, NVIDIA loves its daily support too, or intraday support today. By daily, I meant today. Bouncing off 188.50, moving up towards 190. Very nice zone there. Don't forget that jobs data tomorrow. I know I keep mentioning that. You guys are probably like, enough of the jobs data, but 1 hour before open is going to be crazy. See how it goes. Go look at some more growth-related names today. Datadog up with their earnings too, 15%. 137.20, still moving pretty well intraday for the most part. Oracle, as we know, in the software stocks, up quite a bit too, up 3.56% today. Moderna and healthcare, killing it, 5.8%. Wow. Pfizer doing pretty well also. J&J, not so much. Affirm's up 5%. They're up 5% fairly often. They're pretty volatile, but great intraday run happening here. Looking at the daily chart, they're moving back up into a big area that was previous support, which is now going to be resistance, unfortunately, but it's getting awfully close to that zone. It might try to just rip through the zone, but we'll see. So far, though, very strong today. And still actively running. SPY's breaking 696.50 just slightly. Ooh, made a new high of the day. SPY attempting to make a run. It's been a pretty big move here that SPY's made the past few days, I gotta say. Let's look at it on a percentage basis, just see like what we're at from the low to the high. SPY's up 3.8% essentially. That's pretty damn good. LFGMSTR, Elite said. MicroStrategy, there we go. It's a good move. 139.50. Might make a 140 breakout push here. This is great looking. Coin reports later in the week. Strategy recently reported. They've actually done pretty well since the report. I know we looked at this one earlier today. They initially fell in the report, like right as the report released, but then the next morning they ripped back. Look at that 1 minute action though. It's hard to beat that. It tracks so precisely with Bitcoin, Coconut said. Pretty similar movement. Yeah. I know they're pretty highly correlated. What a great push. SPY slowing up, but I think it's just slowly chopping up here today. I wouldn't be surprised if it still moved higher. It's been loving the upside move lately. I don't think we should worry about it at that point. It's almost too precise, Coconut said, regarding MSTR and Bitcoin. I love that move, though, intraday with MSTR. Its average percent rise is awesome at 3%. Move is awesome here today. I could see it trying to make that break. It's a big zone to break through here. I want to see it here. Some good price action opportunities coming in. Spotify is now up 19%, still climbing, following their earnings. Hitting $496. Gosh, they might hit $500 today. Spotify had been dying in the short term, guys. That is a massive recovery starting to come through. They filled that huge gap on the daily chart, too. That's kind of funny. Filled it almost perfectly and bounced. Oh, yeah. Aioli. This is from a channel called Deep Focus Music. Deep Focus Music. They get almost no views, but it's just constantly updated with these types of like lo-fi slash, I don't even know what you want to call it. Concentration music. Here's a link, though. You want to check it out? Let's see, healthy. Probably go with something on one of these stocks that are like actively running today. Whoa, like it, Robert. Gonna chill for a while. Hate playing bad months, but would like thoughts on any plays if it's cool. So far, just long GLD calls and KBE. Oh, no super chats for a bit. Stay blessed, y'all, and good luck. Have fun. No problem, Robert. I appreciate it, though. Coming through with the with the last one. Thank you, good sir. Let's see. Thoughts on any plays if it's cool. So far, just long GLD calls and KBE. Well, you know, I am eyeing up a few plays, but a lot of them have been falling down a lot recently. DraftKings is one that is starting to enter my mind. I know that they're getting hit by Polymarket and Kalshi pretty hard, but they're dipping here. If they have a good move on earnings, I think that getting into them back up could be a decent way to go. Now, if they report negative earnings, then, you know, we might have to wait and readjust. Maybe they'll trade back towards their big support zone, create a better buying opportunity for the longer term there. But I'm definitely watching this earnings very closely here to make a decision on DraftKings, but I love the way in which it's starting to move. Disney is starting to recover up pretty well off support. This one could be a decent shorter term trade as well. Also been looking at AEO, American Eagle, on the dip. So it just dipped down, and it's almost mimicking the same dip down that it had here. And I'm really looking for this one to possibly come up off of the dip for the next couple months. Could be some decent call opportunities there with AEO potentially. Use this bottom support zone here as like a range to stop out at. I think that could be a good one for the next couple of months or so. Let's go through. A lot of these ones that I've been, that have, you know, they've been performing very well already, so it's hard to buy them at the highs here, but. Hims and Hers is interesting down here. Novo as well. NVO is one that I am still eyeing up off this longer term support. It's holding it very well. I still think that these weight loss drugs could start to perform pretty well for the longer term. So I don't mind grabbing NVO down around $50 or so, considering just how big of a company that they are. and it is a big area of support too. Just with these stocks, you have to really be willing to give it a lot of time. But I do think for the longer term, NVO is one that I really like to eye up down here. Pfizer's doing very well in the short term too. It's a healthcare stock. It's coming up off the dip. It's approaching a big resistance, which is a slight negative, but that's another one that I've been really looking at in the short term, as it could potentially break this resistance and start to go on a run. But again, I would have preferred you bought it somewhere down in this lower range. Maybe it'll reject here and give you a second chance, but if not, potential for grabbing a breakout style opportunity there, especially if you get enough time on it. You could hold it for a while. But I appreciate it, Robert. Thanks for the super, of course, and thanks for all of them, as always. SNDK moving lower, 4.3%. SanDisk has been explosive lately, but it is starting to finally see some weakness come through. This is rough. The AR calls. Not doing good. Oh, the 38. Yeah, they did a call debit spread there. January 26th. Yeah, it has definitely not performed very well since then. They have earnings today, though. This was one of the big risks that we looked at with this play, is we were looking at it and thinking, wow, like they did it right before earnings. They're probably looking for a bit of an earnings move, if we're being honest. The way that AR is holding at support is awesome, though. So I love the support hold, and if these earnings go well, I think they could start to gap up pretty insanely. But at the same time, if they go bad, they might gap under support. But that's the risk with this one. I don't think I would have too much on the line here with AR, but who knows? Maybe the big money knows something that we don't. Krusty said, is owning competitors at the same time a good idea? Like having Coke and Pepsi, or Hims and Novo, or Ford and GM. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Now, Hims and Novo, they're competitors, of course, but I think Novo's main other competitor is... Oh, man, what's that company? I don't think it's Hims and Hers. We just talked about it the other day. Let's see. Eli Lilly, that's it, sorry. Eli Lilly with Zepbound, that's the one. LLY, so you'd have like Novo like and LLY, for example. LLY does a whole bunch though, but yeah, thank you, VT. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a good hedge. I don't always love doing that, though, to be honest with you, because sometimes they might not perform as well. Like, if you're looking at something like Coke and Pepsi, now these two stocks, I could see owning both of them, but I don't get why we don't just pick, like, one or the other, if I'm being honest. KO has done a lot better. I'd probably just go with KO, but it's never bad to have some exposure to the competitors, especially if you're looking to have, like, exposure to the broader, like, soft drink market, we'll say. I know that's a weird market to talk about, but that would be kind of what you do. KDP is one that they mentioned too, Keurig Dr. Pepper. This one's been dipping a lot recently, not doing near as good as KO or even Pepsi. So it's pretty strange, but they're not always going to perform, quite the same there. CELH is an interesting one, Celsius Energy. Or MNST, Monster Energy, which is doing fantastic. Just great price action, very consistent. Monster Beverage. They do go through period of pullbacks too, but they've been pretty consistent. They pulled back for like 2 straight years though before this big massive run that they've been on. I do like Pepsi where it's at on their chart. It's a little high in the short term. I feel like you could maybe wait for a bit more of a drop, maybe some better prices, but I mean, I don't think that I would necessarily go for the competitors always. As long as the timing makes sense. Good morning, Tom. Tesla broke 420 and not looking back. No kidding. It bounced off 420 today after breaking through right back to the high of day again. Wow. Yeah, look at that lower range. We talked about this range earlier on the stream and held up extremely well for the bulls who were looking for that dip buy opportunity. Why does Hims continue to spend so much money on social media advertising when they are already known so well? You know, I think it's just because it might influence people a bit more, you know? If you might hear about them and people know them, but then if it pops up 10 times, you know, they probably have a statistic, like if you see the ad a certain amount of times, it might influence your chance to buy by 10%, right? Or who knows? Who knows? Bob Saget posted a good wedge on QQQ in the chat today. I saw it in the discussion channel. Figured I'd throw it on here though. Shout out to Bob. Kind of wedge bound here. It's going to be interesting to see if QQQ breaks this down and goes for a dip, or if we hold it and maybe even break it for a rally. It's more of a bull flag if I was going to, you know, classify it as anything myself, or like a bullish wedge. It's the same reason why Coke still does ads, to keep them relevant in the public eye. I guess it makes sense. Tax deductible? You're probably right there. I wonder if you can do tax deductible Super Bowl ad. Probably not. Lots of chop today, Tom Ailey said. Wegovy? Wegovy's always fun. No, I'm kidding. That's one of the weight loss competitors to Novo, I believe. Or maybe Novo does make that one. I can't even remember at this point. Yeah, lots of chop, especially on QQQ. And SPY, I guess, too, as it's stuck here. Let's go look at KO. Massive pullback down 2.4%. Daily chart pulling back as well. Tesla charts look so simple to go long and make money. Is that a bull trap? No, not necessarily a bull trap. I mean, Tesla is at a point on the chart where it's bounced pretty well before. I could see it starting to potentially make a break for the high of the day today, considering how strong it's moving right now. It's actually looking really good. Keep dumping Google, Elite said. Looking for Google to keep moving down. Wow, 320 rejection. That was pretty rough. That was a pretty rough drop off there. Big pullback for Google, though. Continue looking at that one to the downside. It has shown a lot of weakness today compared to others. It's down actually 2.19%, where Microsoft's up 2%, Tesla's almost up 2%, and the rest are around break even. Amazon had good bounce too, but SPY's stuck in the chop zone. We're gonna need some of these tech stocks to really turn back up here and, you know, turn on the jet burners or the afterburners, we'll say, to get the momentum started a bit more. Meta looks rough, though. Moving towards the lower end of the day. Yeah, Meta. What are you doing? 671 coming up. It's already bounced here once. This is the third test. Will it bounce again? Will there be a triple bottom, or will it break? Pretty big point for the stock, though, especially if you're a scalper out there. Tesla's rejecting, hopefully. That's what you want? You want a nice rejection for Tesla? Well, there you go. You're getting it. You're getting it, Elite. How are some of these nuclear stocks, like UUUU, down 3.5% today? URA down a little bit, too. How about airlines? UAL, LUV. Wow. United back up again, another 1.4%er. Look at that run towards the highs on the daily. Love it. LUV, Southwest. Look at that daily chart. Big breakout recently. Massive run. Massive run since the recent lows. Wow. The more you zoom out with LUV, the better it looks. That support zone was crazy. Held up in an awesome way, and my word, what a jump. What a jump. I could see it breaking through 55 here over the next few days, or at least touching that. The airlines don't generally care what the market thinks too much, but of course the jobs data tomorrow can affect just about everything, so. Lucid is hot right now, Steve said. Lucid Motors, LCID. Been a while since we've looked at something like Lucid or Rivian or anything like that. Lucid had been dying. I think they made recent all-time lows 4 trading days ago, but you're right. They are bouncing back up here, and they formed a good base. Oh, wow. They bounced really good at $9.50 to $10. That's a really good move. Coming back up. Wow. Nice, Lucid. Nice recovery. That's an interesting one there. Nice call, Steve. We'll have to keep our eyes on Lucid in the short term. There could be some opportunities coming through. Of course, there have been, but past 2 trading days slowed down a bit, but I would love to see it get a bigger rip towards like you know, previous resistance here, like closer to 1217 to 1235, 1230. Pretty big range there, about a point away. When y'all think Exxon will pop back? That's a tough call there. Exxon is on fire right now. I wouldn't try to necessarily make the call. That's like nearly impossible. I love the momentum in the rip, though. I would think it slows down fairly soon, just given how much of a rip has ensued. Looking at crude oil here. Crude's been in a major downtrend. We'll see if it can come through and break through or not. It's getting towards the bottom end of this massive wedge, though. Look at what happened the last time it broke through big support. Right here, when it broke through this resistance slash support, it died right around $66.50 to $67 a barrel. It died. It actually just touched that again, though. Now it's going to chop like within this range, and it would be very interesting if it really acted as like a wedge style trade. Kind of funny. Have to keep our eyes on that downtrend, though. SPY moving down slightly right now. Nothing crazy. Eyeing up the news. U.S. Commerce Secretary Lutnick said NVIDIA and China must adhere to H200 chip license terms. Lutnick said Q4 GDP growth will be over 5%. Lutnick said the dollar was manipulated higher over many years. Foreigners use trade surpluses to buy our country. Lutnick said it's more natural for the dollar to be at its current level. Look at the dollar selling back off the past couple trading days again. As the market tripped higher the past few days, the dollar has moved lower. Senate Republican leader Thune said the White House could make a Department of Homeland Security counteroffer soon. That would be big. At least for the government shutdown. Alrighty, guys, I'm going to do a quick intermission. Give me just about 3 to 5 minutes. I'll be right back. We're going to throw up Mag 7 real fast. Going to go destroy the smoothie. I'll be right back, guys. All right. Sorry about that, guys. How are we doing? Tom's flipping the burger on the grill. No, it was time to grab a new water and check on the daughter real quick. APLD flagging all day. It's definitely in a weird, very, very strange setup here. It looks like it's kind of breaking under the flag. SPY is in actually a pretty similar setup. Kind of strange. Nonetheless, moving slightly lower now, chopping back down. Very weird PA on the SPY. I still lean to the upside overall here, but I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted now for the rest of the day with the way SPY is moving. One of those weird days. I think if we're pre-big jobs data tomorrow, I think that there could be some chop coming through. I think it's better to stick with some individual companies today rather than the SPY. Some of the individual runs have been a lot better. Lisa. Let's find one we didn't miss. Meta's breaking down right now. If you're looking at support, 671 just broke down the low of the day. Potential for a scalp play down there. They won't always continue lower, but pretty good opportunity. The trade desk, right around the high of the day. Good potential. This one has had some really good price action to the upside so far. It could continue here, and if it breaks through resistance, could be an opportunity for a quick scalp. Doesn't mean to hold it too long or anything, but pretty quick. What's up with CGC? Okay, they're up 5%. I was wondering if they were moving with any significant price action or not. Looks like nothing too crazy, really. They're definitely pointing up, but look at that daily chart. It's pretty strange. They're right on a big support. I know we looked at these ones at the end of last week. We didn't really look at them yesterday, but Tilray's coming back pretty well, up 6% too. Interesting. All right. Very interesting there. There's weird PA all over the market, Tangy says. How's QQQ doing compared to our wedge that we were looking at a minute ago? Fell under the wedge. There was good opportunity for a very quick scalp down there, which we were looking at before it happened. You just would have had to note it down and watch it on your trading for a minute or two and catch it. Snap is stuck in a really weird wedge. It is up 3.2%. Look at Snap, how much it's sold off, though, to the, this year. In 2026, it broke through major support from 25 at $7, and gosh, that was nasty. Look at how big that support was, though. Like, that support range had held up forever. For like 3 years. We're finally breaking it down. Disgusting. That's what happens when they go bad. Here's one that happens when it goes good. Intel. Won't always hold support, but wow, that's crazy. SPY still looking a little weak right now. Las Vegas Sands, 56.50. Why does the stock go down a lot even though the volume is less than the previous day? That doesn't, you don't always have to have high volume to have movement, really. Because keep in mind, if there's high volume, there could be high put or high buying volume and high selling volume at the same time, kind of counteracting each other. But whenever you think about it, the volume aspect doesn't always have to be there, right? Now, if there's a big momentum-filled move because of news or something like that, you'll see volume spiking quite a bit. And maybe it's like maybe you're looking at something like, let's say a penny stock, right? And you're looking at the volume's normally like 100K, 100K, 100K. But then now today, the volume's like 1 million. You're like, whoa. Like, see, like there's a big difference there. It's like, if you're just looking at like normal movement on normal stocks like that, you don't necessarily need to worry about the volume as much, or be like, oh my gosh, like the volume's gonna dictate the price action. Like if you look at every single day, the stock generally moves. Like there's some days where things go flat, but for the most part, whether the volume's high or low or what, even if it's slightly lower one day, there could still be great movement. I'm going to throw that on SPY and show you really quick how it kind of look. SPY might be a bad one, but like right here, for example, like let's say like right here, the day that I'm looking at, see how the price action, I mean, there was decent like overall movement, but like it ended up like pretty much break even, like almost like the day did nothing at the end of the day, right? But there was high volume. But let's say that we look at a day like, I don't know, right here, there's super low volume, but the market had a pretty decent green candle. It was okay. It, wasn't huge, but it, again, some of these like low points, like right here, the low point, like January 12th, fairly low volume, like definitely nowhere towards the higher end, and had a really nice green day. But there are some days like where the volume's fairly high, and there is a very voluminous overall directional move with SPY. It just doesn't always have to be like that where there's a small move. But obviously, like, the more volume, generally the bigger move that there is. But I hope that makes sense. It just happens, Aioli. Like, at the end of the day, we have to remember that in the simplest terms, it comes down to more sellers than buyers, or more buyers than sellers. So even if there's low volume, within that low volume bracket, if there's more buyers than sellers, it's still going to move, because the buyers are still bidding it up and moving it up. It just might not be as many buyers as, like, let's say a day where there's lots of news or something. MS is dropping. Morgan Stanley really is dropping. Holy crap. Down 3.4%. Good call there. Good eye. That's a pretty big pullback there. SCHW is dropping too. Wow. Guys, what is happening? JP Morgan just shifted too. Something has to be hitting with the banks. Man, look at all that volume on Schwab. Something had to have hit them at least. What the hell? I'm not seeing any headlines for it yet. Could have been about 10, 15 minutes. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. Sorry, guys, I have a coughing fit going on. Man, these bank stocks, though, are wild. These sell-offs are massive. What do you guys think's going on? That is wild. Without any news. UPS continues to move. We like it. I'll take the move with UPS, but I'm still scanning the headlines here, looking for some news with these banks, because I can't see. I just don't see anything here. New York Fed said household debt balances grow modestly. Doesn't seem like it would move it. Oh. There is that meeting between banks and crypto companies scheduled for today, apparently, but yeah, that's all I really see is just that. Besides that, it's not too much, really. Interesting. How's Coinbase, maybe? How about Hood? Someone said IKBR or IBKR, Interactive Brokers, is down as well. Oh yeah, they got smashed. I don't know. Something with that meeting must not be going well for them. No, not orders queued, really, Aioli. Volume is like orders that have like already executed. But you could say that, like, let's say you're looking at Bookmap. If you're looking at like orders stacked up at a certain area, you could say that there's like 100,000 volume there at, let's say, 300 or something, right? Because it's just that there's the shares are sitting there, and if it does hit, it'll inject that, and it'll pretty much fill 300,000 extra into that volume right there. Of course, depending on what stock, there can be all types, but maybe Trump got pissed at him. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm not seeing anything there for it, but just that meeting is happening today at some point. I'm assuming that meeting is not going well for the banks, because I don't see any news associated to it coming out from any of the big news people that we normally see posting all the good news. Maybe Bloomberg. I'll do one last search on Bloomberg. Nothing there. I would say, though, that it's something with that. Wow, very interesting. Yeah, I'm definitely leaning towards something with the Clarity Act meeting there, but wow, what a weird and interesting move that we're seeing play out here. Going back to the SPY one last time today, SPY is bouncing close to 694, trying to hold that intraday support there. It's been kind of trending up intraday. We go from the pre-market low to the upside. It's, you know, for the most part, every time it's dipped down, it's held, it's made a new higher low. I'm watching for that to potentially break down. That's what I'm worried of, but alrighty, guys, we're going to go ahead and call the stream there. I appreciate everybody for joining up today. As always, it's Taco Tuesday. Let's have a great rest of the morning here. We're 2 hours into the market. SPY and the market has done fairly well so far today, but it needs to hold its ground into this afternoon. Hopefully we can see an afternoon rally, but the jobs data tomorrow is going to impact everything. So be ready 1 hour before open. It's going to be huge. We're going to talk about it a lot tonight, so make sure to check out tonight's video as well. Give us some love in the comment section. Destroy that like as we continue to march forward here this week. A lot of big and crazy events. Don't forget the earnings either. Robinhood reporting tonight. Lyft, Ford, Upstart, a few others. All right. I'll talk to everybody later. See you tomorrow morning and see you in the Discord. Join up. Let's have some fun. See you guys.